You're shopping around for the best premium controller for your gaming PC. But what do you choose? The Xbox Elite 2 or the PlayStation Dualsense Edge? This is David with Side of Tech. Let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with price, since this category is pretty much cut and dry. The Elite 2 has a starting price of $179.99 and also has a bare bones option called the Elite 2 Core, and that one retails for $129.99. And also, since the Elite 2 has been out for longer, it's constantly on sale. And as far as the Dualsense Edge, this one starts at a retail price of $199.99. Since it's the newest amongst all the Pro controllers, there's not really any kind of sales going on with this one. So with everything in consideration, the Xbox Elite 2 wins this category. Okay, so next thing we're going to be talking about is comfort. And this part I know is going to be super subjective. It's going to all depend on what type of hands you have, the hand size, and everything like that. But this is my impression of how I feel about comfort with these controllers. So wrapping my hands around the controller, I can tell you that the rubberized grips on this controller is super comfortable. Everything falls into place, and of course Xbox is known for these offset thumbsticks that almost everybody loves, so that's a huge plus when it comes to this controller. Now I will say that whenever my hands are wrapped around here, I can reach the triggers very easily, but the bumpers I have to kind of go out of my way to press. And although the rubberized grip is really nice, I do notice that the controller feels a little bit smaller in my hands. So even with me with medium, stubby little fingers, it does feel smaller in the hand. This might be a good or bad thing for you. I'm not trying to downplay the comfort that I do have with this controller, but that's just a little gripe that I have. Rubberized grip of this is actually a little bit better than the PlayStation one. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and cover that one now. So the grip of this one, already I can tell you it's a lot more substantial and it fills out your hands a lot more. And then when reaching for the triggers and the bumpers, I don't have to adjust my grip at all. I don't have to lift any fingers down here to do it. It's just seamless. Although I will say I do enjoy the Xbox's thumbsticks a little bit better. I do like the offset, but overall between the two, I do enjoy the Dualsense Edge a little bit more when it comes to comfort. It's a lighter controller, so it does feel a lot better in the hands when you're playing for a long period of time. Next, let's go ahead and talk about build quality. The Elite 2 feels like a super premium controller with all these metal accents and implementing actual metal into the controller. The rubber itself on the grip feels really nice and slick, but when you grab the whole controller, you know that it's going to be secure. It has this really rock solid feel, and there is no flex in the chassis itself. With all that praise, there's still a huge detractor when it comes to this controller. That negative is that there are multiple reviews on this controller and its thumbsticks developing drift. My model is about a couple months old, so I haven't had this affect me yet, but it's kind of like OLED burn-in, where it's inevitable and not a nice thing to think about when you're buying an ultra premium product. Now, moving on to the Edge. So in terms of quality in hand, the Edge just doesn't have that same wow factor as the Elite 2. All I can say is that it feels just like the regular DualSense controller, but with a little bit more added weight. Sony uses so much plastic in this controller, and even with the additional parts that it comes with, it really would have been a nice touch to add some higher quality materials on the controller, just like the Elite. I do, however, like the build of the case a lot more than the Elite, since it's made from a harder plastic material, whereas the Elite is just a canvas hard shell. And the number one build quality feature that the Edge has is replaceable thumbsticks. So instead of throwing away the whole entire controller, you could just buy some replacement thumbsticks instead. Now, while the Edge does have these replaceable parts and a better case, I still feel like the Elite has much better build quality overall with its metal parts and premium feel. I guarantee you, if you were to pull out both of these controllers from their packaging, you would feel the same too. Now moving on to the features of each one of the controllers. The Elite 2 has adjustable tension thumbsticks, which is really great for fine-tuning your playstyle. The ability to shorten the trigger pulls, which come in super clutch when it comes to shooters or third-person action games. You have that wrap-around rubberized grip, and also the ability to cycle between 3 profiles, all of which you can customize in the Xbox Accessories app. You also have a set of 4 paddles, 2 medium and 2 mini size. And my favorite accessory that comes with the controller is the magnetic charger sure. So as you can see, the Elite 2 does come with a lot of features, but let's go ahead and see how it compares to the Edge. So in terms of the pure number of features, the Edge does win this category. You have the adjustable triggers, the built-in microphone, the touchpad, swappable thumbsticks, customizable profiles, the ability to lock the wire cable, which is really cool, and that non-slip grip. Not to mention, you also do have the back buttons and the ability to charge the controller through the case. So yes, I'll go ahead and give the point to the Edge, but in our next few categories, this is where the Edge does fall a little bit short. Okay, so one thing that is super important with PC gaming, especially PC gaming, is compatibility. I can say a whole bunch of nice things about these controllers, but if the compatibility is not there, then what are we even talking about? So let's go ahead and start off with the DualSense Edge. So in order to enjoy all of the features that this controller has to offer, you have to plug it in directly into the PC, so a wired connection. And you also have to keep in mind that some of the features are not available in all of the games. So there's that, and also if you're playing on a non-Steam platform, on the PC today, there are no first-party applications that you can run to customize this controller, which is a huge bummer. The only way to unlock its true features is using a third-party application. One of them is called DSX. That's one that a lot of people use, but it's up to the developers to update it in order to make this work with every single game. So in my book, where the DualSense Edge comes up short, the Elite 2 just stomps it out of existence. The Elite 2 has its own app that you can download off of the Windows Store, and it gives you access to customize every single thing about this controller. So it's safe to say that the Elite 2 definitely wins this category for sure. If they were to come up with an app to unlock the full potential of this controller in terms of compatibility, this would be an even more closer matchup. But again, the Xbox controller takes this one. Okay, so next let's go ahead and talk about the battery life of each one of these controllers. So the Elite 2 has an incredible battery life. It has a battery life of 40 hours, so that's exactly what you want to see in one of these Pro controllers. Whereas the DualSense Edge, let's talk about it. So this controller features 5 to 10 hours of battery life. That's dependent on what type of features you're using with the controller at that time. So if you're using a lot of the rumble and the vibration, that's definitely going to take a toll on the battery life for sure. And one thing that's super infuriating about this controller is that it has a lower battery life than the regular DualSense. And this was super noticeable when I was playing Hogwarts Legacy. Flying on your broomstick and using one specific spell that just vibrates every single time you use it, this controller runs through that battery life so fast. You have to charge this controller every single night in order to enjoy a full day's worth of gaming. Whereas the Elite 2 can last you a few days, so that's a night and day difference between both of these. So as you can guess, the win easily goes to the Xbox controller. So adding up all the points for each of the controllers, the Xbox Elite 2 wins with 4 out of the 6 points. As of today, the Elite 2 is the definitive first-party Pro controller for the PC. Now things might change later on down the line if Sony were to create an app similar to the Xbox accessories app. They already have an app created for their in-zone headsets in which you can customize a whole bunch of the features. If they were to create something similar for the DualSense Edge, then we'll have a legit competition here. That being said, the Elite 2 comes in at a cheaper price. You also have cheaper options for it if you want to have that premium feel but save a little bit of money. The best compatibility for the PC for any Pro controller. And lastly, really insane battery life. So yes, if you're trying to choose a Pro controller for your PC, go ahead and get yourself an Xbox Series Elite 2. So guys, I want to thank you so much for watching today's video and joining me in comparing these two controllers. Now while the Elite 2 won in terms of points, the DualSense Edge is still a really great controller, but I don't think it's ready for its prime time debut yet. But anyways, what did you think about my comparison? Go ahead and leave those comments down below and let's go ahead and start a discussion. If you guys felt like I earned your subscription, go ahead and join the family and subscribe down below. On this channel, we discuss a whole bunch of everyday tech products, and if you want to see more content on these controllers, go ahead and follow me on my social media, especially my Instagram @SideOfTech. That's where I post a majority of my content like reels, photos, and a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff. But with all that being said, you guys, this was David serving you a little side of tech, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you guys.